listening to Package Your Genius, a conversation designed to give you clarity on your calling and serve as a catalyst for your career. I'm your host, Amanda Miller Littlejohn. It's Amanda from Package Your Genius, and today I want to talk about something that I think we all could do a better job of when it comes to letting people know exactly who we are and what we care about. And that is how to stay on message when it comes to what you care about. Like, what are you about? What are you passionate about? What is your purpose? And what is your life's work about? What are the things? Who are the audiences? Who are the people that you are here to serve? And do most of the people who encounter you understand that and know those answers? And would they say the same thing if you ask them about yourself and what their perception is of you? And this kind of came up for me over the course of the last few days. We've been having a ton of media traction in the Maximum Exposure PR group. And as I mentioned, Amber, who's one of our participants, was in Fast Company earlier this week. And when she dropped the link to the article, I saw one of the comments under her article that kind of made me laugh to myself a little bit. But then I thought, wow, that is a really interesting commentary on how people can perceive your brand. So a little backstory: Amber is a diversity and inclusion consultant and trainer. And so if you didn't hear about Sephora closing their stores earlier this week to do a diversity training for basically all of their personnel, and many people say that it was as a result of the artist SZA coming into one of the stores to try on, ironically, Rihanna's Fenty makeup and feeling like she was being racially profiled. So then the following week, Sephora shuts their doors and holds this diversity training. And so Amber, as a diversity consultant, definitely wanted to weigh in on this, but also to weigh in on what companies should be thinking about if they are serious about diversity and inclusion. And so, we collaborated on the pitch and, made the Fast Company thing happen, which was great. But upon her posting the piece, one of her followers says, "This is great, but also your branding is so good that you were literally the first person I thought of when I saw that headline about SZA in Sephora. Like, I hope she is contacting them. LOL." Now, her friend did not say, okay, your branding as in your logo and your photos are so great. Like, your logo made me think that you definitely should be talking to Sephora and SZA. Your photos, made me think that you should be, reaching out to Sephora, or they should be reaching out to you. But her message is what is keeping her consistent and making her one of the first people that many think about when it comes to diversity issues. And that is because she stays on message. And when I say she stays on message across all areas of her life, professionally and personally, and even online. So, she does trainings and talks about how we can better approach inclusion in the workplace during her trainings. Obviously, she did a number of media interviews this week and talked about that topic in, those media interviews. But on social media, even in her spare time, when a company does something crazy as it relates to diversity, I can count on Amber to, tackle it in her Instagram stories and kind of share her take in the moment, and let us know her perspective on it and some of the things we might need to consider as it relates to that issue. And it's not like she is passionate about diversity just because it's tied to how she earns her living, right? Like, she doesn't only talk about it when she shows up on stage to do a talk or when she shows up at these companies to do a training. She talks about it all the time. She lives and breathes it. And I think that is what is remarkable about her, and why the people in her network look to her to have some sort of commentary when it comes to diversity and inclusion issues. So how well are you doing with that? How well do people know what you do? Now, I would say that, like, if people don't understand exactly what you do, that could be a messaging problem. So that's a separate conversation, but they should be clear on what you're passionate about. And you don't have to be written up in Fast Company for people to understand what you're passionate about. You should, be letting your passion for what you do and who you serve and who you care about ooze through you at home and at work. So like I said, Amber's consistent when she's delivering on stage, and when she's delivering trainings, and when she's on IG, like laying in the bed, broadcasting from her home and kind of like updating us on diversity issues. So here are 3 ways that you can stay on message when it comes to what you care about. So number 1, rant about what bothers you in your industry. If news breaks, if something happens that is relevant to the work that you're doing and it really bothers you, don't just like rant to a friend. Rant publicly on social media, on your business Facebook page, on your LinkedIn profile, in your Instagram stories. Say something about why this matters to you. You could even just share an article that's been written about it and add your commentary, add a sentence or 2 about why this really bothers you and really pisses you off. Like, don't be afraid to show people what you're passionate about. Don't be afraid to rant publicly. Number 2, tell personal stories about what has happened to you, right? So what has happened to you personally as it relates to the thing you're passionate about? Let people know how you have that buy-in, or let people know what your day-to-day life is like, or some of the stories and the incidents that have shaped, who you are and why you're passionate about the thing that you're passionate about. And, if we were to look at Amber as an example, if she is racially profiled, she should share that as a personal story and talk about why it was uncomfortable and maybe what the establishment or business owner or whoever profiled her could do differently in the future, right? So tell personal stories, insert yourself. And number 3, share when you speak on or do formal media on your topic, right? So if people catch your television segment, or they catch your Fast Company piece, or they catch your talk on stage, like if they are in the audience, they're one of the few hundred or thousand people who had the pleasure of being in the audience to see that, you were talking, that's great. But there's this whole other universe of people who weren't there, didn't know what you talked about, don't have the access to you and to that specific incident. Maybe they missed the interview, or maybe they just, weren't invited to the talk. And so they'll never know about it. But one thing you can do just to stay on message is to let your wider audience know, hey, I just did this talk on diversity at X company and it was great. Or, hey, I just was featured in this television segment on diversity. Here's the link, right? Like, all of these things help to reinforce in a subtle way what we're about, what we care about, what we're passionate about, what we do on a day-to-day basis. So that when something pops up or pops off and we are the solution, more and more people will understand that we're the solution, and hopefully they will reach out to us. So again, if people don't understand exactly what you do, that is a messaging problem that you can fix. And there are a ton of programs, including mine, Package Your Genius Academy, that are designed to tackle that. So don't feel like you have to do that alone. There are courses, there are programs, there are coaches that specifically work on brand messaging. So don't be afraid to find one. But again, if people don't know what you're passionate about, that's on you, right? Like, I can message you from here to there, but if you're not showing up, letting people know what you're passionate about, they're still not going to know who you are and what you do. You have to keep showing up. You have to be consistent. You have to stay on message when it comes to what you care about. All right, that's all I've got for you today. If you do these 3 things, rant about what bothers you, tell personal stories as it pertains to what you care about, and then share when you speak or do formal media on your topic, I truly believe you will be top of mind when your issue or topic comes up. See you next time.